Poochie. Poopichi. Okay, this therapy session, will be all about Bioshock. Because recently I finished the ultimate. Some people might even say, well, it's legitimately pretty much like the most important piece of Bioshock content, because it's wildly regarded as the best piece of Bioshock content ever, which I of course never had access to because I never bothered even remotely playing Bioshock 2. And recently I did, and I got around to finishing Minerva's Den, which is supposed to be even better than the entirety of original Bioshock, according to many people. And even if not, according to the rest of the people who spread this notion of Bioshock being a good game, a great game, one of the greatest of all time, it's at the very best, like the second best content of Bioshock. Piece of Bioshock content, like after the original game. So it's either number 1 or 2, doesn't really matter. You know? Okay, cool. Fantastic. So let's get something out of the way first. I only recently properly finished Bioshock 1. I don't even know when, because for the past, I would say, 5-ish years of my life, it was all a blur. It was all a blur, honestly. If I did not have my creative personality to sustain me, I legitimately could have told you right now that someone just pressed fast forward on my life. I honestly have no idea what even happened. I remember finally playing Returnal and being, oh wow, cool, and then 2 hours later, oh damn. You know, and that's about it. That would have been my impression of the last 5 years of my life, you know, if I didn't actually do at least something. But unfortunately, as you may know, it's all, you know, it's all therapeutic, as in not even properly therapeutic. It's just screaming into the void, you know. Just like I say about Bioshock, you know, just because you get to choose with which color of plasmid to damage the enemy in front of you, or with which gun to headshot the enemy in front of you, it does not make an immersive sim. That just makes like a shooter. Any shooter ever. You know, same thing with me. You know, you keep screaming into the void. If nothing answers, it doesn't necessarily matter the kind or the amount of content you keep screaming out into the void. You know, if it's all the same result, if it's all the same stuff, it all results in the same thing, the result is the same, then it's, you know, you come away with it with all the same just feeling of insanity. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe it was half a year, maybe it was 4 months, 5 months, 6, 7, whatever. You know, 8. I finally finished Bioshock 1, and my thoughts on it were, well, the game is getting much more fun in the second half. Once you actually get, like, basically all of the weapons and plasmids you're going to be using for the rest of the game. The first half of the game, well, first 2 hours of the game are basically just linear walking. It's just one big set piece. There is a little bit of gameplay here and there, but there's really nothing approximating fucking anything. None of the game is truly like Metroidvania-ish in style, by the way. Any, even most linear area of like Dishonored 1 or 2 could be considered more of a like mini Metroidvania. or Deus Ex 1 even. Or Thief, you know, could be considered more of like a Metroidvania-ish type of environment to explore than any of the levels of Bioshock. I mean, some of those levels are relatively big, sure, but also it's mostly a linear experience. It's just sometimes, you know, it's based in the hub. It's kind of like, again, I keep bringing it up. There are games like The Darkness, for example. It's actually very, very in style for first-person shooters of that era. There are games like The Darkness that, well, essentially it's a hallway or corridor. Some people say it's a hallway shooter. It's just that between the hallways, you go back into this big open hub that actually keeps extending the further you play. The longer you play the game, you know, the hub actually keeps extending. Something that the developers of RoboCop did not understand. That, like, when you return to the hub, you can actually do things with it other than swap the skybox. You know, like, the hub itself in RoboCop is just so stupid. Like, you easily could have made it a bit more directed by making it smaller first and then have pieces of it unlock over time, like every time you return to it. I mean, oh, RoboCop, those polished dudes, you know, they do their best. I wish one day they make a proper video game, because RoboCop is still not a proper video game. Fucking Unreal Asset Store, you know, reuse left and right. You know, it's something that realistically 5 people, you know, working full time could do in 2 years. Absolutely. You know, instead, a polished sweatshop made that game in half a year. You know, it's like, okay, cool. If I run a sweatshop, I can make games like that also. You know, it's nothing impressive, guys. Sorry. But, you know, there was a little bit of soul in it if you can, you know, close your eyes on the fact that fucking millennial writing and millennial, like, voice acting. Oh, hello, RoboCop. How are you doing today? Let's go and kick some bad dudes' asses. And RoboCop 1 with Lewis, like, had some of that too. And RoboCop 1 and 2 and 3, I suppose. I hardly remember 3 for PTSD reasons. But RoboCop 1 and 2 also, yeah, Lewis was this, like, just unnaturally quirky or, like, bubbly character. True. But in RoboCop 1, everyone is like it. In RoboCop Rogue City, everyone is like that. So anyway, Bioshock was kind of like that, honestly. Bioshock! Oh, what's that? It's just Tucker Carlson's coming through a little bit. Bioshock was kind of like that, as in, it was a Metroidvania-ish type of game. But honestly, it was just a really linear shooter. It's just that sometimes you had an area that would be like a linear type of thing. Sometimes you would have a bit of a hub type thing. And of course, the hub type thing wouldn't be a proper kind of like, you know, the Darkness type of hub where you are relatively safe. Like, no, it's like Metroidvania type hub where everything is trying to kill you. You know, you're not safe in that hub at any point. There's a lot of spider webs there, so I had to guide Aini to me. I couldn't walk around that thing. There's like 5 fucking spider webs go through this centerpiece towards those bushes. Yeah. So that's basically what Bioshock is. Like, Bioshock is basically like, think The Darkness, only instead of one big hub that keeps expanding, you get mini hubs instead of completely 100%, you know, hallways. And again, instead of being like a peaceful hubs, it's just like mini Metroidvania hubs. But honestly, most of them, it's such a cope to be calling it like a Metroidvania design. No, there is no Metroidvania design. Like, sometimes you can unlock a secret. You can unlock a small door leading to a small, like, you know, walk-in closet, like a wardrobe, by using like your electricity, like electric shock, on like a panel. You know, or you can hack a safe and there's going to be stuff in it. Well, if you completely suck, then maybe you will not unlock it and you don't get the stuff out of it. Like, guys, that does not make it like an immersive sim. That does not make it a Metroidvania. Hardly anything interconnects in the level design of Bioshock at all, because like I stated many times, you know, Bioshock hubs are, generally speaking, like there's no interconnectedness. The levels are pretty originally, you know. It's like you go to an area and there's a little bit of a hub with pretty much nothing in it, and it says, oh, I need to go to like, I don't know, apartments. I'm thinking about that hub area right after you discover the den of like Dr. Rosenbaum or whatever the hell, Tottenbaum and her like little freaks. You get to that area, god damn it, I don't remember, some kind of plaza or whatever, and you need to go to apartments from that area first, and then you go back to the hub, and the apartments is a linear area, right? And then you go back to the hub and you need to go now to another level. It's like, yeah, okay, there sometimes is a hub that kind of serves as the launch platform for otherwise linear levels. Well, that's not Metroidvania, you know. Nothing smartly interconnects back to that hub. No, you go to a linear hallway, you get to the end. Usually there is a shortcut back to the entrance, so like very Skyrim style, and then you go back to the hub. And now through the hub, you can finally go to the next linear level. Hub in and of itself is a bit of an open area, yeah, but it's also not particularly intricately or at all looped back into itself. Usually it's not, because there's nothing to loop. Yeah. Oh. Okay, dude, let's go. Just standing here in bushes, kind of problematic. Okay? Because things that keep on eating us. Annie, come on. Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. There are things there. Probably cows, all things considered. I cannot see any, but yeah. There's probably cows there, right? Well, what are you going to do about them? You hate them. Come on, let's go. Goddamn insects. So yeah. So in Bioshock 1, once you get all the weapons, it actually gets pretty fun, I would say. Yeah, you cannot have like plasmids, you know, equipped at the same time as you have weapons, which is kind of strange. Even like by the standards of that time, honestly, they could have figured it out, but no, they didn't. Oh well, whatever. The game gets ridiculously easy towards the end because you become ridiculously overpowered. And in the first half of the game, it's not that it's challenging, it's just that like big daddies are extremely bullet spongy, for example, and you just don't have quite enough weapons or plasmids for that matter, you know, to make any significant dent in them. So the game kind of just feels annoying until you get enough tools. And once you get enough tools, you can just circle through all of your powerful stuff and you can absolutely melt big daddies, especially if you set a few traps. And yeah, you know, it gets slightly less annoying, but it never becomes immersive sim, you know. I was super unimpressed with its level design. I was completely unimpressed with its story, and the art style was rather annoying also. It's like this, you know, Bioshock, now that I think of it, might be one of the first games, one of the originators of this pseudo-Pixar, like cartoony art style that every single game started doing ever since Overwatch. And oh my god, I don't know, it's just goofy and cartoony, and everything is animated so jerkily and cartoony because of it. Like fighting enemies is just so bad. Like, especially in Bioshock 1. In Bioshock 2, they fixed that problem a little bit. They made enemies a little bit less jerky. But in Bioshock 1, like, headshotting somebody is so difficult sometimes. Because they're animated in completely unpredictable and unrealistic ways. They just jerk all over the screen. And like, sometimes it's difficult on the controller. It's sometimes difficult to line up a headshot. Even to a standing enemy. Even to an unalerted enemy. Yeah. So the shooting part, though, in Bioshock 1 feels like really bad. It's a really bad shooter. And it's a non-immersive, non-sim. And, yeah, but I kind of like appreciated the story a little bit. I appreciated some of the themes. It was okay. It was an okay. I would give it like maybe 7 out of 10. If you push your way through. Originally, I tried playing the game like 3 times around the time when it came out, and I just couldn't finish it. Every time I dropped it. I even played the demo for it on PlayStation 3. And the demo for PlayStation 3, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, that's like a 6 out of 10 for me. I don't know, maybe I'll get around playing it one day, but I'm not particularly impressed, honestly. I don't understand what people were so impressed about when Bioshock came out. I honestly don't. And I know what I'm talking about because I was there. And, like, no, guys, I grew up playing video games like Metal Gear Solid and, like, Final Fantasy, games. I am not impressed, You give me Bioshock, like, let alone, games like Thief and even... damn spider webs. And even like System Shock, and like Deus Ex games, for that matter. Like, no, I don't get it. Bioshock definitely gives you just enough systems so that a normie playing this linear, shooter for dummies can think, oh, dude, I'm playing an immersive sim, yo, look how much agency I got. And that's basically the reason, Bioshock is pretty good at making normies feel smart. Because, like, surely, a game like Gears of War doesn't really do that. Bioshock definitely has some of that. Because its story is pretty okay by normie standards, it pretending to be highly intellectual. And honestly, my biggest wish was that both Bioshock 1, 2, and Bioshock 3, for that matter, also Infinite, we're just walking simulators. Like a 5, maybe 6 tops, hours-long walking simulators, where you can just walk around, not see any of the... not see any of the stupid cartoon enemies. Maybe see, like, Big Daddy, a couple times. And just walk around and listen to the audio logs, and get the story, and that's about it. I think Bioshock would have been so much better, because the gameplay of Bioshock is so bad. Like, it would have been just better as a walking simulator, because the environments look okay. If you are into this, like, cartoony diesel punk, it goes for. I'm not a huge fan of all the Art Deco type of stuff, which is one of the biggest reasons, by the way, why I'm like really not into Prey 2018, right? Is it? I think it's 2018. Prey 2018 is a fantastic game. I played through it multiple times after dropping it a few times first, because the game is just so goddamn lame. The Art Deco looks just so bad. I don't understand why developers keep trying to do that. But Arcane been trying to do that, like, ever since Dishonored, honestly. They like this, like, old-timey look. Only, of course, it's very modernized. in System Shock 3, aka Pro 2018. But it's like this stupid feeling, you know, you get when you play it, is that the game is simultaneously System Shock but also Bioshock. And I hate this stupid stylized, you know, like diesel punk bullshit of Bioshock. Like cartoony, you know, cartoony dystopian dark diesel punk. It's just so strange. Like you take something so goofy and cartoony and you try to make it like grimdark. And it's like playing a Tim Burton's, you know, like cartoon. It's not scary. And it's not atmospheric. Because you keep thinking, oh, look how cute. Oh, look how goofy. You know? So, honestly, like at this point, you might as well just save my time and just make it a walking simulator. And I should probably make a disclaimer about Bioshock Infinite. I hated Infinite. I don't understand how people defend it for like being what, fun? For being most mechanically sound shooter in the series. Yeah, sure. I mean, retroactively maybe you could say that it's honestly pretty good, because you play like Bioshock games now and the gameplay is just so bad. It's almost unbearable. Yeah, sure. So, stop. Move. So compare, you know, you compare to the Infinite situation, right? And Infinite is Infinite actually kind of plays like a proper shooter, which is what Bioshock games always wanted to be. And they were just really bad shooters. And Infinite kind of plays like a proper one, but it's a proper one, you know, of the 7th generation of consoles. It's not particularly impressive. Like, think of all these games you have completely skipped out of the 7th generation. Like that original Wolfenstein game before the goofy reboot of the franchise. Think of what the hell? That was a big piece of poop. Should probably clean that up. Think of games like Time Split and Singularity and that stupid like Syndicate reboot game. Remember that? Like, remember how goddamn boring all of those were? Like, I understand that now people play those games ironically and kind of say, oh, so much better than God of Woke Ragnarok. No, dude, those games are fucking boring, uninspired slop. Oh, look how much masculinity is on screen right now. Not like the soy boy, soy fest, soy. Well, dude, so what? You're now gonna be telling me that, like, what, Gears of War was actually secretly not a completely boring fucking fest of like zero creativity? Come on. Okay. Now, Gears of War is suddenly the best game ever because it was based, and we did not appreciate it back in the day. No, I mean, we appreciate it for that, quite alright. It's just that, you know, our standards were different. And just because you give us just because you give us something like that today, it does not matter that suddenly, like, that's what we wanted all along. We just didn't realize it. No, we knew what we wanted. It was not it, okay? Just like Bioshock today suddenly does not become an instant classic, you know? It's just a very subpar, you know, linear shooter that pretends to be deeper than it actually is. Like, anyone who actually engages with Bioshock critically, like, if you're telling me, like, I'm like nitpicking or just saying nonsense, you're just either dishonest or you're like literally mentally deficient, you know, and you don't understand what I'm talking about, or you played Bioshock 300,000 years ago and you do not remember what you're talking about. That's honestly pretty much, those are the options. Anyway, Bioshock 2, oh, Bioshock Infinite, yeah. Oof, dude, Bioshock Infinite, like, no. And additionally, I absolutely hate Elizabeth as a character. She is so goddamn annoying. I did not necessarily hate her in concept, but after I played the game, she is so annoying. She's so pretentiously, like, you know, worried about everything in the world. Oh, well, I need to make it so that all puppies are happy. You know, this stupid worried face of her, concerned anime face of her, that's like constantly in your face, by the way. Like, do we fucking need to do it? The game is so cringely, so obsessively, the entire time you play it, trying to make her sympathetic, trying to make her likable, and she just isn't. She is just annoying, and your obsessive attempts to make her likable make her even more annoying now, because of how forced, how unnatural it is. Surprisingly, her quirkiness and likableness gets a bit toned down in the DLC. And I was not a huge fan of the DLC, except for the fact that Rapture is rendered. Like, you go back to Rapture in the Burial at Sea DLC for Infinite, and you... Oh, and the story, by the way, the writers of Infinite literally had no idea what they were doing. They were in and over their head, absolutely. Way over what they could do. In and out, baby. What a burger. So, yeah, going back to Rapture in the Burial at Sea DLC, you could actually see the leap in graphical fidelity between like Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite. 2 looks a little bit better than 1, but mostly if you play it on PC with DirectX 12 enabled, which you pretty much cannot do because the game will crash every 5 minutes. And it will probably crash while taking your entire computer with it. It will blue screen your computer. Yeah, so you play with DX9 and DX9 Bioshock 2. Basically looks like Bioshock 1. Now, you go back to Rapture in the DLC to Bioshock Infinite, and yeah, dude, like the leap in graphical fidelity is like a generational, pretty much. Rapture looks so goddamn good in Infinite. Like, no, neither Bioshock 1 or 2 are even remotely close to how great Rapture looks there. What just makes me want to like look at this world, you know, through just like a walking simulator exercise, honestly. Exercise and walking, like what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Bioshock, part 1 of Burial at Sea is not particularly fun. It's just more of Infinite. Bioshock 2, though, part 2 of Burial at Sea, though, you play as Elizabeth, and you basically have to play the game as an actual immersive sim. There are, like, alternative paths you can take around enemies. You have to play stealthily. You can play loudly in certain encounters if you want to, but generally it would lead to death. So basically it becomes like a bit of an immersive sim. For the first time in the history of the franchise, it actually plays like an immersive sim. It's only about 2 hours long, I believe. I don't think it's even like 3. But that, in my opinion, is by far the best piece of Bioshock content ever done, because it's, you know, it's an actual immersive sim light experience, I would say. Maybe even not light. so much. There's actual stealth mechanics. Levels are actually designed with stealth in mind, i.e. there are alternative paths to take and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Burial at Sea Part 2. And then Bioshock 2. Bioshock 2 I never touched in my life, period, because why would I? The base game is... Bioshock 2 is ridiculously slow. Like, literally nothing happens. There is no story, no nothing. There isn't. There isn't any story in Bioshock 2, I'm sorry. There isn't. Until about the last maybe 2 hours of the game, there is no story. There is a premise, but there is no narrative. And the game is very slow. The game unfolds very slowly. Only maybe, like by my estimates, maybe 75% in, 3/4 in, you actually get all the weapons to be effective at like whatever it is that you need to do. You are so low constantly on just options for pretty much the entirety of the game. Way over 50% of the game. You have like, you basically just have your like rivet gun or whatever the hell, your nail gun, and that's like the best thing to use in every single situation, and you hardly have anything else. You have your machine gun that is completely useless, unless a little bit of it could be useful against big daddies with the armor piercing bullets. But that's it, basically. You have your rivet gun, and that's it. You know, you have your machine gun a little bit, but it hardly does anything. My device is too hot. Well, fantastic. It's not even that hot outside right now. So, yeah, the environments of Bioshock 2 are just so uninspired. It's just all like slums and, you know, I apologize for keep smacking my tongue. What's the name for it? It's like a drug den. That's the word I was looking for. It's just imagine those areas of Bioshock and of like Bioshock 1, I mean, and just stretch that, make that the entire game. That's it. Like, that's how Bioshock 2 looks. It's really boring. It's really boring and very formulaic. It's just, oh, rubble, you know, dirty. Oof. It gets so old, like, in 15 hours. Okay. There's a dog outside. So, this is gonna be interesting. Heini. Shh. No. No. Enough. No. Stop. Yep. Good boy. Stop. Okay. I got you. Sorry. I thought I will need 2 hands, but no. I'm actually perfectly good with 1. Okay. I got you. You're not going anywhere. Oh wow, there's a speeder right here. Can you see it? Ooh. Alrighty. So, what are we... Yeah, oof. The game does legitimately become more fun-ish, I would say, way towards the end. I would say it's not even the last quarter, it's like the last 1/5 maybe. Oh, nice reverb. Very nice reverb. when you actually get all the weapons to just absolutely melt everything. I need. Shh, 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 shh. No. No. It's quite some singing. quite nice reverb. Yeah, and also towards the end of the game, like, no, 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 no. You get all the. Okay, come here. Okay. Once you get Inferno level 2, and you get the passive like thing that makes you do more damage with fire, you can one-shot like so many enemies. You just do insane damage. So once the game like truly becomes like a really bad shooter from the 7th gen, it actually gets more fun because you can play it like an idiot. You can play it like a dumb game. And I was playing on hard the entire game, right? So towards the end, it becomes so stupidly easy to just play like an idiot. Just play it like it's Doom. That, you know... Honestly, if you play the entire game like that, I would be so bored I wouldn't even finish it. But because I only got to experience a game like that towards the end, because you finally get so many weapons, and you constantly have a crap ton of ammo, you are constantly topped up on health and on Eve. Like, what's the point? Like, why? And I'm playing on the hardest difficulty. Like, why do I even bother? Just go Doom on these assholes. In the last location, or maybe even last 2 locations, I don't remember. Either in the last level or the last 2 levels. I think it was just the last one. I didn't even bother getting all the little sisters and big daddies. I think I left like 3 untouched. I was just like, okay, I'm not interested. This is pointless. Why? What do I need Eve for now? Why? And of course, you know, the problem is that as a shooter, as a Doom-like, it's, you know, Bioshock is not particularly good. But it's a bit more fluid than Bioshock 1. It's just fluid enough to entertain you for about maybe like 2 to 3 hours. Because you actually get to offload all of your weapons into enemies, and you get to constantly just, you know, ignite, or that's the name of the plasmid. You just get to like do whatever, you know, constantly bees ignite, and everyone just dies, and that's Bioshock. You know, you can put that on the cover. Yeah, sure, okay. But when you try playing it properly, like, I don't know, dude. The game is very weirdly paced. You hardly have any interesting tools for most of the game, like, period. I was not, like, particularly into it. But I did appreciate that technically, from the gameplay perspective, Bioshock 2 is a much smoother experience. Absolutely. But I did not appreciate the environments. The story is now like 10 times less interesting. There's hardly any kind of, like, you know, the ending is just stupid also. You know, I went for the evil ending, technically, and then I looked it up, and the good ending is the same thing. Like, yeah, whatever. It's never even explained why exactly you died. Because in the bad ending, you died because your daughter kills you. In the good ending, she mercy kills you. Okay, so, but the same thing happens regardless. That leads to that situation. So, was I dying or not? Was your character dying or not at that point? Because, like, your character wouldn't wouldn't be dying because of what? Like rapid decompression, the bends? Dude, it's pretty obvious that Big Daddy's suits are pressurized. So no, rapid whatever, desubmersion you know, wouldn't really affect you in any way. You are in a pressurized spacesuit already anyway. So yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, I suppose, how that ending makes absolutely no sense. But I suppose it is slightly better than the ending of Bioshock 1, that literally you just kill... Oops, sorry for spoiling. You kill Fontaine, and you get a 20-second cutscene of either you emerging and becoming one happy family with like 20 little sisters, or you emerge out of Rapture with like millions of them and take over the world. So yeah, that's interesting. That also, by the way, sets up the kind of stage that Bioshock 2 just does not know how to follow at all. Why is there anyone left in Rapture at all by the time Jack leaves it at the end of Bioshock 1? Why are there any little sisters left? Didn't he completely fix the situation with little sisters? First of all, there wasn't supposed to be any, right? Because Jack either took all of them and took over the world, or he saved them all. But no, Bioshock 2 just opens with whatever it opens, and it goes with it, and it makes absolutely no sense. And then it ends in a relatively entertaining explosion of action, if you choose to make it so. But the game also, like the last hour of the game-ish, I would say, the game absolutely forces you, you know, to have like big action. You can no longer even pretend to play it smartly. You just have to go guns blazing and just, you know, throw whatever you have at waves of enemies. Aini. Shh. It's like I said absolutely nothing at all. Okay, let's go see if I need... God damn it, I can't fucking see shit now. Okay. Let's go see if I need 2 hands for this. Well, now that I'm standing here, you suddenly go silent. You know, Moon, people like me, you know, systems-driven, systems-oriented people, we don't like having elements in our lives that we cannot automate. If I have to oversee you 24/7, yes. Yes, if I have to oversee you 24/7, I would rather just, you know, not. I would rather set the stage so that, you know, things can take care of themselves. And it's not that I don't enjoy your company. I don't enjoy having to constantly micromanage you. That's the thing I don't enjoy. TV here is off for some reason. Okay. Wow. So yeah, no, I honestly don't understand what people find so entertaining about Bioshock. I understand those who say, oh no, dude, I totally love Bioshock 2 because it plays so much better than 1. That's true. That's true. But I don't understand how that's the reason why you really enjoyed Bioshock 2. I don't get it. No, unlike Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2 hardly even has anything to look at. because of its, slums setting. It's not setting. I mean, you go to different places, but they all look the same. They all just look like slums. Partially because, well, that's where you are, and the other reason is, well, that's the state of rapture, right? After the events of, Bioshock 1, obviously things are gonna deteriorate. So that's what they do. And then we get Minerva's Den. Minerva's Den is Minerva's Den is interesting. Minerva's Den is just more Bioshock 2. People say Minerva's Den is like the best piece of Bioshock content ever, and they never explain why. They just say, well, because, like, everything about it is just fantastic. But also, some people do single out the fact that, the story is just so much greater. It's the best Bioshock story ever told. And I'm like, really? Wow. Well, now that I finished it, okay, story-wise, Minerva's Den has no story, just like pretty much every Bioshock game, and Minerva's Den obviously is not a Bioshock game, it's a DLC to Bioshock 2, but it is a fully standalone, fully self-contained thing, so it's about a 3, maybe even 3.5 if you play on the harder difficulty, and you have to take things a bit slower. It's about 3.5 hours long, worth of, self-contained experience. So we could, if we wanted to, stretch the definition of what constitutes a self-contained Bioshock story. It is technically a self-contained Bioshock experience, so yeah, okay, whatever. The story of Minerva's Den is the same thing as the rest of the Bioshock series. There is essentially a bit of a setup, then absolutely nothing happens but pointless exposition for about, I would say, 90% of your experience, and then you get just giant dumps after dumps after dumps. You go through a blitz through the narrative in the last 10 to 5% of your time with it. And whatever, I don't necessarily mind whatever Minerva's Den had to tell me, but I do not agree with the statement that it was particularly impressive or outstanding, let alone outstanding. So, yeah, it was pretty typical of Bioshock, honestly. I think some people mistake the reveal at the end of Minerva's Den as having anything to do with Bioshock 2. I think some people may accidentally mistake that the identity, your identity in Minerva's Den is you play as the same Big Daddy as in the core game. So it's very important for the lore of Bioshock 2. No, I think obviously if you played the game, you know that that's not true. But I think some people, because weren't paying attention, or they misremember things, but they remember there being some kind of a twist in the end. Maybe some people mistakenly remember that twist is connected to Bioshock 2. No, it's you're a different person. You're a different Big Daddy. But yeah, well, anyway, so yeah, it's a fully self-contained thing, and I understand what some people may enjoy about it, because that game, Minerva's Den, actually kind of plays a bit more like a very self-contained, very short, kind of like immersive sim type of experience, because you get all these tools right away, and the game is very meticulously designed to be a tight experience. The game is designed so that how should I put it? Bioshock 2, and Bioshock 1 for that matter also, feel like stupid, hallway shooters that just happen to take place in areas that are not necessarily just straight hallways, you know, like, ooh, big thing, right? And we just gonna throw in some rudimentary kind of like systems from System Shock. You know, that's how Bioshock feels. Well, Bioshock 2 feels like it was legitimately designed with all of your powers, with all of your powers in mind, and with a bit of a feel for the environment. You know how you play in System Shock, you get that feel, right? Where like every hallway matters, every room matters. We don't get just like random closets for no reason. Well, we actually do in System Shock, but you know what I'm saying? It's like when some walking simulators do that, in fact. Like, let's render a room, right? It's just a room. But let's render it with such detail that, like, every single thing about it matters. Aini. Maybe not. Come on. Okay, sorry, I was bitching about Bioshock for way too long, so I suppose Aini is getting tired of being here. It's not super hot, but he wants to go back. Probably guess he's hungry or thirsty or something like that. So yeah, Minerva's Den would have been also a pretty okay walking simulator. In terms of its visuals, it's not quite as bad as the rest of Bioshock 2, because it actually doesn't necessarily take place in like literal drug dens. It takes place in the area that is a bit more stable, if not isolated, still, than the rest of the rest of Bioshock 2. Again, it's a standalone thing. I shouldn't say it like that, but you get what I'm going for, I suppose. Yeah, and I don't get it. It's a bit tight. It's a bit tighter. You get all of your power-ups very quickly. You know, things are pretty close. You feel like there is not a lot of filler. But the game is also ridiculously easy. I killed one Big Daddy in the game, by the way. It was the very first one, because I tried to sequence break it. Because the game tells you, hey, you need to open this gate, like you need to shock the panel, right? But you don't have the shock thing. And you don't have any plasmids thing, but there's a plasmid vending machine there in the corner. And there's Big Daddy walking around. Me to kill the Big Daddy so that I can, you know, get the plasmids out of him, whatever, get Adam out of the little sister, and I can buy the plasmid and I can open the door. Okay, cool. What if I like waste Adam on something else though? What if I legitimately waste it on something else? How will I then open the door? And then, of course, I was like, oh, yeah, there is another door on the other side of the room that you can unlock by shooting a remote hacking dart into it. So that's probably where you need to go to find like the shock thing there, right? But what if I kill Big Daddy and I just buy it? And of course, I see it in the vending machine. And I'm like, oh wow, let's see if I can sequence break it so that I don't have to go to that other area at all. And yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Because the one in the store is like level 2 electrify, or whatever the name of that plasmid is. And you cannot buy it if you don't have one already. I actually didn't know that. I don't think I ever attempted to buy 2 for any plasmid. Now that I think of it, no, I think I did try in Bioshock 1 once to buy something of level 2 without having level 1. Yeah, and the game doesn't let you. I think. In Bioshock, in Minerva's Den, it definitely doesn't let you do that. And I was like, oh, okay, so I cannot do it. Like, I have to go to that other area so that I can pick up plasmid to zap that other door open. Like, yeah, whatever, you know. So, not particularly immersive, you know. No, it's not particularly immersive, guys. It's just it's a bit of a more tight experience. You know, Bioshock 2 would have you go through like a 40-minute long hallway that's just a shooting gallery in order to get to that little plasmid. And in Minerva's Den, you have to navigate like relatively tight, you know, neatly, tightly put together, kind of like believable areas, you know, to get where you need to go, and it only takes you like 15 minutes. It's a more compact, it's like speed up experience. It's like if you take Bioshock 2 and you literally remove all of the fluff out of it, you get Minerva's Den. So that's maybe what people enjoy more, is that when you play Minerva's Den, it actually feels like there is no fluff. There is only this, like, pretend immersive sim-light experience. And it's still not it, you know, because the game is about 2.5, maybe 3 hours long. I would say 3.5. And about 1 hour in, you get, like, super overpowered. And again, playing on hard, you get super overpowered, and you can basically forget about playing smartly. And also, like, honestly, the way everything is designed, it's, you know how I said, like, the game is basically Bioshock 2, but without all of the fluff and, like, stupid, pointless, you know, hallways with nothing to do but shoot enemies, you know, in straight corridors. Well, one more thing that Minerva's Den absolutely loves to do, that's very System Shocky, it's very Prey, actually. Later Prey will do something relatively similar. It loves to just put traps everywhere. There are cameras behind every corner, and there are turrets behind every corner. So you have to play it slow. You have to kind of play it like immersive sim, right? Well, again, the problem is that it's entirely based on what, you know, mechanics you get from Bioshock 2. And Bioshock 2 doesn't have too many immersive sim mechanics. It has, like, hacking, remote hacking, and, well, you can headshot a normal enemy, a normal splicer, maybe, with a spear gun. And that's it. Like, there's no more immersive sim. Oh, you can, like, you know, hack a safe. You can break into a safe. That's it, you know. So there's only so many things you can do, and it's, in a very System Shocky way, I understand why people might enjoy it, but it's not even remotely as hardcore as something like System Shock 1, for example, or 2 for that matter. It's more of a shooting gallery type of experience anyway. It's just that, yeah, if you don't want to deal with turrets constantly, you know, melting you down, or flying drones constantly being sent after you, you have to kind of like take things a bit slow and disable a lot of security. So that's probably why people think that it's more of an immersive sim. It's true, it's technically more of an immersive sim, but it's still, you know, light years away from where it needs to be in terms of level design and mechanical depth, you know, so that player-authored experience can actually happen. Honestly, it's basically just more of Bioshock 2. Yes, it's a little bit different. It's designed with a bit of a different kind of like philosophy, if you will. But all things considered, it's the same thing. It's a bit more compressed. It's kind of like the game is really in a hurry to give you everything, to show you everything. It's more of a... It's not a roller coaster ride, though. It doesn't feel like it. It kind of feels like... well, I don't know if I can explain... I mean, I understand the difference, really, somewhere in my feelings area, and I think you would too, or do too. But it does not feel like... does not feel like a roller coaster ride. It feels more like it's like a sprint. It's a sprint through a Bioshock experience. And it does have, because like I said, it has everything, all the fluff cut out of Bioshock 2. Everything is like super close and everything is super tightly and neatly put together. And one of the results of that design, I don't even know if they made it on purpose or if it just happened to be such, right? Because in Bioshock 2, sometimes there's a turret somewhere that's placed like in a trap-like fashion, right? And you like, but between, you know, between traps like that on Bioshock 2, there's usually about 2 hours worth of gameplay, you know. In Minerva's Den, there's 2 minutes worth of gameplay between traps like that. So whether that was just like a unintended, you know, consequence of just this approach to design of like, like what are all these like special things, you know, that can happen in Bioshock 2? What are all these like interesting level design, maybe even immersive sim related type things that can happen in Bioshock 2? And one of them is, of course, traps and like intricately or assholey placed security elements, right? And they thought of that and they're like, okay, so what's the time between them? You know, what's the gameplay time between them in Bioshock 2? Oh, it's like 3 hours. Okay, well, we think things like that, like interesting things like that, need to be happening more often. You know, and maybe even in a way of like overcompensating for how the core game ended up being. Like core game honestly just did not have enough of interesting kind of like things like that. So with Minerva's Den, they completely overcompensated and decided, yeah, we're gonna have like all of that stuff all the time behind every corner. Everyone's gonna love it. It'll be like an immersive sim, like super immersive sim experience where, you know, the world really wants you dead. And then Prey 2018 will later do something similar. Or 17, I don't remember. I think it's 2017, maybe 18. You know, so yeah, it's more system shocky in that way, but it's not system shocky in just how many resources you get. So you don't feel pressured to be like, oh my god, I have this one last remote hacking dart. I absolutely need to disable that thing or I am screwed. Like, no, I have 10, you know, and I have $500 in my wallet, so I can go buy another 15 if I have to. And also, you know, even if I couldn't, even if there were no darts to buy and I had no money, I have full ammunition for every single gun that's available to me right now, which is like 6. So I'll be okay. And I have full Eve, you know, and Electrify plasmid. So I'll take care of that turret one way or the other. You know, it's not that big a problem. So yeah, it doesn't quite feel like particularly system shocky, despite having more of a system shocky level design. I suppose I understand what the developers were trying to do. Whether accidentally they came to that type of design by just thinking that let's just take like those type of elements that we have in Bioshock 2 and make more of an experience that consists like just of them, with no stupid linear hallway shooting crap of the main campaign of Bioshock 2. Or if they legitimately sat down and were like, okay, what if we take the mechanics that we have in Bioshock 2 and try to put it all together in more of a system shock experience? Whatever they were thinking, I see that that's basically what the experience ended up being. But again, it's all grounded in the mechanics and systems of Bioshock 2, which aren't particularly deep nor plentiful, you know. So yeah, man, I do understand if normies feel like, oh, it's like it's a whole other level. Maybe that's why, right? Because you play Bioshock, you play Minerva's Den, 2, and it's just like you really have to take it slow, and you need to pay attention to your surroundings, and you constantly have to disable security. It's more of a System Shock type experience, true, but for anyone who actually understands the type of experience that, you know, Minerva's Den is trying to invite you into, it ain't it, you know. It doesn't scratch. I mean, I'm sorry. It just plays like Bioshock 2, only it's just more of Bioshock 2, only it's like, you know, both Bioshock 1 and 2 get more asshole-y with traps and stuff like that towards the end, right? So it's like, yeah, not even consistently, but I wanna Bioshock 1 and 2 both have a few areas, like relatively short areas, set pieces almost, where you have to navigate through some kind of environment, some kind of building or something like that. That is like heavily booby-trapped, you know? And there's security everywhere, there are turrets everywhere. Both Bioshock 1 and 2 have those, kind of like set pieces. Well, imagine a set piece like that, but stretched over 3 hours, right? And you basically get something approximating what System Shock 1 and 2 represent. And that's Minerva's Den. But in reality, you know, for anyone who's played both Bioshock 1 and 2 on hard anyway, and, you know, I couldn't, just like, I had to pay attention to those kind of traps, like, anyway, right? As in Minerva's Den, you have to pay attention to them, because if you don't, you probably even on lower difficulties, you know, you just end up getting yourself melted. And, well, the thing is that in Bioshock 1 and 2 on hard, you could technically tank your way through some places like that, but I didn't like doing it, and I typically safe scummed, because that's how you play immersive sim. Like until I kind of like got the encounter right, you know. So, like, for anyone who was actually engaging with systems like that in Bio 1 and 2, Minerva's Den is basically just more of that. Like, we've already got this experience. Like, normies got to experience that kind of, quote-unquote, that kind of Bioshock, end quote, right? They only got to experience that kind of Bioshock in Minerva's Den, but I played on hard, so I got to experience it already in the original 2 games, because I had to kind of like take things, you know, slow and careful. So it was not that big a revelation for me. But I see that the devs were going for something even like philosophically, I would say, right? Like game design philosophy-wise, different from the base Bioshock 2. I see that. But I don't understand all the people praising Minerva's Den as like the greatest piece of Bioshock content. Honestly, it's just more of Bioshock 2. Yeah, it's a tad more condensed, but even normies, like if you play it on normal or easy, you can just run and gun the whole thing, more or less. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to disable a few security, you know, places, in a few places. Few security things in a few places, but which you normally maybe wouldn't. But then again, I don't know, you probably have so much ammunition. Even on hard, you get so much ammunition, you can probably just shoot your way through everything. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I see the difference, okay? Kind of like philosophical.
in approach, but in the god damn it, okay, sorry, in the practical sense, it's the same thing. Honestly, it's just more of Bioshock 2. Yeah, of course, it plays a little bit different because, you know, it's kind of like the entire like weapon and power progression of Bioshock 2, you know, had to be compressed into like 3 hours. So yeah, of course, you know, it's the things. But no, I don't buy it. It's significantly different. And also, like, have I already? Oh yeah, I don't think I said it. Guys, Minerva's Den, honestly, I killed, like, remember that one Big Daddy I killed in the beginning when I thought, oh my god, everyone told me like this is like an actual immersive sim. I wonder if I can sequence break it. Yeah, of course. Right. That Big Daddy was the only one I killed in the entire game, and I did 2 like Adam like turret defenses, like whatever, defend the little sister, fucking idiocies. So I fully did like 1 atom gathering thing with that little sister, and that's it. I have not touched a single Big Daddy ever. You can quote me on that. In Minerva's Den. That's it. I just did not need anything. I picked up a few like atom pieces here and there, and that's it. I think I bought myself like a few improvements for a few additional slots for passive plasmids, and I think like 1 health upgrade or something like that, and that's it. Like, you can just run and gun the entire thing. You don't even need plasmids. So yeah, that's neither here and there, here or there, because you know that, for example, Dishonored games are also made in such a way that it's like play your way, right? So you can play. So the game fully supports you playing both like super stealthily or super offensively. Doesn't really matter for the game. So basically what it results in the fact that the game is super easy, because if you're trying to sneak your way, well, if you get caught, you can just go guns blazing at any point anyway, right? And that kind of cheapens the experience a little bit, sure. Even on highest difficulties, you know, same thing happens. It doesn't really change the game flow of that particular aspect, right? Yeah, you might say, hey, you know, like whatever, it's the same thing, right? Well, no, it's not. Because in this specific example, I'm talking about how much Minerva's Den is basically just more of Bioshock 2. And that's exactly how Bioshock 2 is. You know? You have all these systems, but once you get all the weapons, you get so many, you get access to such an amount of ammunition, you just don't even have to use plasmids anymore at that point. Except like for damaging ones. Yeah, and Minerva's Den is the same way. That's the point I was trying to make. It's just more of it. It's just more of Bioshock 2. Like I completely don't see the thing, the point so many people have been trying to make, saying that like, Minerva's Den is like it's a whole other level, dude. You didn't like Bioshock 2? Yeah, dude, Bioshock 2 fucking sucks. I agree with you. You should try Minerva's Den, dude. Minerva's Den is amazing. It's the best thing. No, it's just more of the same. It's just so confused. Like these narratives in the contemporary like gaming culture, because like back in the day, not a lot of people actually bothered. Like, yeah, sure, normies played Bioshock 2 probably, and Minerva's Den as well, I assume. But most normal guys, first of all, fans of Bioshock 1 hated Bioshock 2. So people like me ended up never touching it even remotely. Plus, people like myself, we were not obsessed with Bioshock 1 to begin with. You know, we had other things to kind of like, you know, spend our time doing. And yeah, now though, well, not necessarily now, I would say like in the past however many couple of years, like all these narratives, you know, keep re-emerging, or emerging rather, I should say, in the first place. Like, oh, Infinite was actually a fantastic game, you know. No, nobody hated Infinite. There was never an entire community of Bioshock fans and just like not fans of slop shooters, to like in general, who absolutely like despised and made fun of, you know, Bioshock Infinite. Like, no. It was always like a good game. Yeah, true. Word. And now, you know, there are people saying, oh, Bioshock 2 isn't actually all that bad. Oh, Minerva's Den, though. Minerva's Den is amazing. That's actually the best piece of Bioshock content. Like, okay, guys, whatever. That was never part of the conversation. So yeah, trying to like put together these older titles that were never worth anyone's time to begin with is quite a journey sometimes. Sometimes you discover games like, you discover something like Watch Dogs actually being a pretty solid game, you know. And sometimes you discover something like this really strange normie obsession with Bioshock 1. Like imaginary depth or whatever. No pun intended. Yeah, guys, it's just so weird, these narratives. Because during the 7th generation, there was no divide. Nobody liked Bioshock 2. Everyone hated Infinite. And now you get these just like random pieces of trivia, you know, sometimes hitting you. And thinking, okay, well, first of all, I should probably check out Bioshock 2, like, anyway. Because I need to finish Bio 1, and then I should probably know what exactly was wrong with Bio 2. And then you get, like, these pieces of trivia, like, oh, Minerva's Den, dude, that's, like, the best thing ever. Period. And you check it out, and it's the same dog water. Like, who's dog water? Who's dog water? And I'm like, where do people get those impressions? Or where do they copy? Where does stuff like this originate? Was there a marketing campaign at one point? Like, I don't remember one. That's so weird. Okay, that's about it.